everybody, on this Thursday afternoon. Josh Croup, 13 ABC Action News, coming to you here live, following up on something that we were just talking about on TV in our big story on Action News at 4. It's about media literacy. It's about understanding what the purpose is behind the messages that you're consuming online, on TV. Understanding and knowing to think critically about something instead of just reacting whenever you see something that makes you feel strong emotions. Online, if you're scrolling here on Facebook, or if you're on TV and you hear somebody say something outlandish, thinking critically about that message. That's what we're talking about today. Just dove in deep to this topic on Action News at 4:30, and we're going to bring in the expert who you heard from as well, who runs a national organization focused on promoting media literacy across the country, starting as young as kindergarten. She says that pillars need to be built in people's lives at an early age to understand what they are consuming in media. So that way, basic skills will translate across different technology evolutions. Michelle Ciulla Lipkin is the Executive Director of the National Association for Media Literacy Education. She joined us earlier from Phoenix. Let's say hello to Michelle Ciulla Lipkin. She is the Executive Director of the National Association for Media Literacy Education, namely. Welcome to Action News Now. We appreciate it, you talking to us here in Toledo, Northwest Ohio, Southeast Michigan. Tell the people at home, first and foremost, what we need to know about media literacy education, something obviously very important to you. What do people not know enough about this topic?
Well, thank you, first of all, for giving this topic attention. It's my favorite thing to do, talk about media literacy education, so I appreciate the opportunity. You know, we are a national organization and we're committed to working on advancing media literacy in the country. And the bottom line is, not a lot of people really understand what media literacy is, what the skills are that people need to navigate this very complicated information ecosystem that surrounds us. And so we really want people to understand that media literacy is a really broad set of skills, right? It gives people the ability to access, analyze, evaluate, create, and act using all forms of communication. And when you think about the fact that educators today really face the challenge of helping students navigate the most complex media landscape that has ever existed. And we know that the line between kind of fact and fiction has been blurred. This is a really difficult time to navigate. And so part of our work is, how do we support teachers so that they are able to bring these skills into the classroom?
So important to educate kids at a younger age. How do you go about educating people who are more experienced in life, people who are older, who are maybe just getting introduced to technology for the first time or getting on Facebook for the first time, beyond just telling them you can't believe everything that you read on the internet?
Well, I think it's a really important point to realize that, you know, continuing learning and continuing education is now a necessity, right? So we are no longer able to kind of graduate high school or even go to higher ed for a college degree and kind of be ready for the rest of our lives, right? Technology is changing so quickly that we need to have kind of public education and continuing education through community centers and public libraries. We need these systems in place because as we get older and technology changes, we need to have systems to be learning, right? So really, truly, the skills that media literacy kind of that we're working toward are lifelong skills, right? And they should be starting at a very young age and going throughout our life. And right now, what we see is a lot of efforts being undertaken to support adult education in media literacy. So we really need to kind of build structures in place to give people that are outside of formal education the opportunities to learn about new skills, to learn technology. Like, we can't really be surprised that there's some problems that we're dealing with if we haven't built the structures to educate people around these new tools. The thing about media literacy skills, though, is that they really are skills that should surpass technology changes, right? Like if we're really teaching media literacy skills, we should be able to kind of transfer those skills into other technologies, right? So even if it's artificial intelligence, we should be able to know the questions to ask, know the skills that we need, so that regardless of where technology advances, we do have some foundational skills that will help us navigate it.
Outline some of those pillars for us, some of those foundational skills, that things that are core for people to know at the very base level.
Well, first of all, we need to understand that our goal is to be kind of skeptical, not cynical, right? Our goal is to be curious and to ask questions. And so for us, our kind of general, like, where do we start is how do we train people to ask questions when they're navigating media messages and when they're creating media messages. So at the very start and at the simplest, we should always be asking, who made this? Why was it made? What does it make me feel? What does it want me to think? How would different people interpret this message? And this is whether we are watching the news, whether we are scrolling our TikTok feed, or whether we're watching, the latest Marvel movie, right? We should be asking questions about media all the time. And so really we talk about it as a habit of inquiry, right? How do we use our habit of inquiry muscle? How are we asking questions about the media that surround us? And that is key. And that is key with no matter what we're talking about in terms of media content, because we know the media landscape is vast. And we spend a lot of time talking about news content, and that's certainly super important. But there's also so much other content that we are interacting with, and we should be asking questions about all of it.
Be skeptical, not cynical. I like that line. Is there anything else that, I know we don't have a ton of time, but is there anything else that you wanted to mention that you didn't? We covered a lot of really good ground. That was a lot of really good information, but any final things that you think we should know before we sign off?
Well, I think it's really important to understand that while we're very focused on trying to analyze media for whether it's true or false, that we also want to think deeper about media, right? That it isn't just about whether something is true or not. It's about all of these other reasons. What is the agenda behind it? What is the purpose? What were the creators trying to get us to feel or do? And, how do we look deeper at media messages so that even if it's fake or even if it's real, that we're understanding why it's there in the first place and how we got to see it and what we're supposed to do with the information. So I think what's most important is to understand that media literacy goes beyond just assessing truth. It goes beyond that and wants a deeper understanding of media, and that's what we really should be asking of ourselves.
Michelle Ciulla Lipkin, the Executive Director of the National Association for Media Literacy Education. A super important topic, and we, again, just got off of TV talking about this on Action News at 4:30. It is our big story today. You can go on 13abc.com here momentarily after that is finished processing on our website. You can rewatch that entire segment if you missed it. Join us live right now on TV. Action News continues all the way through 6:30. Good day.